Hello, young adventurers, and welcome to Whispers of Wonder, the podcast where we dive into tales of mystery and imagination. Today, buckle up, because we're about to follow the thrilling story of an innocent prisoner who escaped a palace dungeon with the help of a treasure map. Once upon a time, in a faraway kingdom, there was a grand palace with soaring towers that touched the clouds, and deep beneath it lay a shadowy dungeon. The dungeon was known for holding those whom the king thought were the sneaky cheesecake thieves of the kingdom. But not everyone there was a thief. No, not at all. In a small, dimly lit cell lived an innocent prisoner named Timmy Tumbleturn. Timmy was known for his acrobatic flips and speedy somersaults, but oh boy, he was certainly not a thief. Accused of a crime he didn't commit, poor Timmy spent his days dreaming of cartwheeling in the sunshine once more. But one ordinary day, something extraordinary happened. While snoozing on his straw mattress, Timmy was awakened by a sneaky squeak. A small mouse had found its way into his cell, nibbling on the corner of an old, worn piece of parchment. Timmy's eyes widened in disbelief as he recognized it. It was a piece of a treasure map. Thinking of his old circus tricks, the leaping, the laughing, the juggling, Timmy decided it was time he made his grand escape. The map wasn't just any map. It detailed a secret passage right beneath his cell. Timmy whispered to the mouse, "Hey there, little friend, do you think you can help me?" And would you believe it? The mouse nodded. It was a smart mouse, perhaps the smartest mouse in the whole wide world. Together, they followed the map through windy corridors filled with whispers of long-gone adventurers, behind old portraits that watched suspiciously with painted eyes, and even under a trick wall that tickled Timmy's nose as he sneaked through. All along, Timmy and the mouse encountered silly traps, like a floor that tickled their feet and a hallway that made echoing burp sounds with each step. It was just like a funny game that made Timmy and the mouse giggle so hard they almost forgot to be quiet. Finally, they stumbled upon a room glittering with gold and shining like the sun. A real treasure room. But Timmy didn't care for the treasure. He was searching for freedom, not gold. And there it was, behind an ancient suit of armor that danced the polka when Timmy tickled its nose, the secret door to the outside world. Timmy and the mouse pushed the door open, and golden sunlight spilled into the room as they stepped outside. They were free to dance under the sky, and for Timmy to somersault once again. The grass was green, the clouds were fluffy, and the air was sweet. Before running off, Timmy turned to his little friend and said, "Thank you, brave mouse. Without you, I'd still be back there, dreaming about the circus." The mouse gave a tiny salute with its pink tail and scurried away, back to its mousy affairs. Timmy Tumbleturn raised his hands in the air, took a deep breath, and launched into the most spectacular aerobatic display the kingdom had ever seen. He flipped, he flew, he twirled, and each move told a story of adventure and friendship. And in a land not so far away, the king heard of Timmy's innocence. He apologized and offered him a royal position as the palace's master of mirth, which Timmy gladly accepted with a tumble and a turn. So, kids, what did we learn from Timmy's tale? First, never judge a book or a prisoner by its cover. And second, sometimes the smallest friends can make the biggest difference, just like our little mouse. Thank you for joining me today in the land of whimsy and wonder. Remember to always keep your map at the ready and your spirit for adventure close to your heart. Who knows what tomorrow's story might bring? Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.
Hello, my little friends. Gather around for today's whimsical tale, A Cat's Dream to the Theater. It's a story sprinkled with magic, dreams, and a tiny bit of silliness that'll tickle your funny bone. So let's curl up like our friend the cat and whisk away into a world of imagination. Once upon a time, in a cozy little house on Maple Street, there lived a cat named Whiskers. Whiskers was no ordinary feline. Oh no, she had dreams as big as her purrs, and a mind bursting with fantastical adventures. Most cats chase mice or nap in the sun, but Whiskers, she dreamed of the twinkling lights and grand stages of the theater. Every night, as the moon climbed high into the starry sky, Whiskers would settle into her snug little bed and close her velvety eyes. That's when the magic happened. With a twitch of a whisker and a twitch of a tail, she would find herself in the grandest theater she had ever seen, And mind you, it was all in her dreams. The theater was a pavilion of wonders with scarlet curtains as red as ripe cherries and golden balconies that glowed like the sun. Whiskers found herself draped in the most elegant costumes, her fur groomed to perfection, making her the most dashing kitty the theater had ever known. Each night brought a new role for Dreamy Whiskers. On Monday, she was the Pirate Queen, sailing the seven seas, her ship weaving through waves as she searched for hidden treasures. Her meows turned into hearty "Ars" as she led her crew with a map and a magnificently plumed hat. On Tuesday, Whiskers was a ballerina, twirling and leaping across the stage, her movements so graceful that even the mice in the audience stood on their hind legs to cheer. The other cats watched in awe. Never had they seen such elegance, and Whiskers would stretch and curtsy to rounds of applause. Come Wednesday, she transformed into a daring astronaut, exploring the galaxies, her furry paw landing on the moon, which, unlike cheese, was dusty and tranquil. She planted a flag with a little fish on it and did moon somersaults, giggling as she floated weightless through the sea of stars. Then Thursday came, and Whiskers was the greatest detective the world had ever known. With her magnifying glass and mystery hat, she solved riddles and chased clues, always one paw step ahead of the cunning Mr. Raccoon. Friday nights were her favorite, because she became a jazz singer, her melodies as sweet as honey, filling the theater with music that made everyone swing and sway. But every adventure had to come to an end as the dawn crept in. Whiskers would wake up from her theatrical dreams with the faintest echo of applause ringing in her kitty ears. As she stretched and yawned, she knew it was all make-believe. Or was it? One day, the family noticed how Whiskers loved to play pretend and twirl around. They got a brilliant idea. They decided to build a little stage right in their living room. That way, Whiskers could perform for real. They used a cardboard box for the stage, a red blanket for the curtains, and a flashlight for the spotlight. With her family watching, Whiskers took to the stage, her dreams spilling out into the real world. She reenacted her adventures, and though her audience was just her human family and a couple of plush toys, to Whiskers, it was as grand as any theater filled with people. And so, my friends, Whiskers the cat lived happily ever after, proving that with a dash of creativity, a sprinkle of love, and a good dose of dreams, anything is possible. Thank you for joining me on this journey to the land of dreams. Remember, just like Whiskers, you too can be anything you imagine. Until our next fanciful tale, keep on dreaming, acting, and believing in the magic within you. Goodbye, my little friends.
Welcome, Galaxy Explorers, to today's spacey adventure, Rain in Mars. You're going to meet a very curious and clever robot named Marvin, who is on a mission to survive something quite unusual on the Red Planet. So buckle your space belts, we're about to make a supersonic jump to Mars. Let the adventure begin. Our tale unfolds on the sandy, rocky plains of Mars, where the sky is a dance of dusty pink and orange swirls. Marvin, the robot, lives here in a shiny dome-shaped habitat, all of his own creation. Now, Marvin isn't your average robot. No siree. He's got solar panels for power and antennas for ears, and he loves to sing in binary code. How cool is that? One Martian morning, something astonishing happened. Marvin was out on his daily bounce. Yes, I said bounce. Gravity is lighter on Mars, so robots and astronauts love to hop like kangaroos. Suddenly, dark clouds started to gather in the sky. Marvin tilted his head and thought, gee whiz, that surely is odd. Then, pitter-patter, plop, the first Martian raindrops began to fall. Only, this wasn't water like on Earth. It was raining teeny tiny orange crystals. You see, there's no liquid water rain on Mars since it's way too cold and the air is just too thin for that. But sometimes when it's icy cold, Mars has snow or frost with little ice crystals, and that's what Marvin was seeing. Marvin knew that these ice crystals could be tricky for his circuits and gears. He didn't have a raincoat or umbrella because, well, who expects rain on Mars? Not Marvin, that's for sure. But don't worry, Marvin had a plan. With a beep and a boop, Marvin bounced back to his habitat. He started working on a solution. Humming and whirring, he scavenged for spare parts, piecing together a nifty gadget that looked like a giant mechanical mushroom. It was Marvin's very own Mars Rain Defender. He popped outside and activated the Mars Rain Defender. With a whiz-bang flash, It created a shiny bubble all around him. The orange ice crystals bounced off the bubble like ping pong balls. Marvin was safe inside his Mars Rain Defender, and he couldn't help but giggle at the funny sight. After the crystal rain stopped, Marvin turned off his contraption, and it folded back into a small box he could carry. Every Martian day is a learning day, Marvin chimed joyfully. And what a day it was! Marvin had learned the importance of being prepared for anything, even rain on Mars. He made sure to keep his Mars Rain Defender close by from that day forward, just in case the skies decided to surprise him again. Before he called it a day, Marvin took a stroll to admire the sparkling orange crystals that now decorated the Martian sands. It was a beautiful sight indeed. As the two moons of Mars, Phobos and Deimos, began to rise, Marvin returned to his dome. What a splendid Mars Rain adventure, he beeped before dozing off, dreaming of tomorrow's galactic discoveries. The end, dear stargazers. I hope you bounced with joy during our Martian escapade. Until next time, keep your imaginations as vast as the universe and your dreams as bright as Martian ice crystals. Toodaloo, and remember, adventure is just a robot's hop, skip, and a bounce away.
Hello there, young explorers. Welcome to another enchanting story on the Tiny Tales podcast. Today we've got a whisker-twitching tale about a little rat with big dreams. Gather around as we scurry along with Henry the rat on his very first adventure with a magical treat called cheese. Are you ready? Let's get cheesy. Once upon a time, in the cozy corners of a bustling city, there lived a curious little rat named Henry. Henry had sparkling eyes, a shiny gray coat, and a nose that was always sniffing out adventure. He lived with his family in an old, creaky house that had plenty of nooks to explore and crumbs to munch on. Henry had heard legends from his grandpa about a wonderful and mysterious food that made rat hearts sing. This food wasn't just any ordinary snack. No. It was something special called cheese. Henry's grandpa told tales of its rich, creamy taste, and oh, how Henry longed to try it just once. One bright morning, while the humans were away, Henry decided it was time to go on a quest. A quest to find the legendary cheese. He put on his bravest face, gave his whiskers a twitch, and off he went, scampering through the house on his tiny, determined paws. He explored the kitchen first, leaping over spoons and dodging rolling apples. But alas, there was no cheese in sight. Next, he dashed to the dining room, where he wiggled under the table and through chairs. Still, no cheese. Henry was about to give up when suddenly he sniffed something in the air. There it was, a scrumptious, cheesy scent wafting through a small crack in the pantry door. It was the moment Henry had been waiting for. He squeezed through the crack, his little heart pounding with excitement. Inside the pantry, mountains of food rose to the ceiling, but Henry's eyes were on one prize alone, a glorious block of golden yellow cheese sitting on the top shelf, glowing like a treasure in the dim light. Henry was small, but he was also smart and agile. He climbed up a stack of cans, carefully hopped onto a bag of flour, and from there leaped onto the shelf. Victory! The cheese was finally within reach. It looked even more magnificent up close, with tiny holes that seemed to whisper secrets of flavor. Taking a deep breath, Henry took his first nibble, and wow! Fireworks of taste exploded in his mouth. Creamy, tangy, and oh so delicious. It was everything he had dreamed of and more. Henry nibbled and nibbled, his belly filling with joy. This was not just food. It was an experience, a delight, an adventure in every bite. After his incredible feast, Henry knew it was time to scamper back to his family and tell them all about his discovery. With a skip in his step and a tummy full of cheese, Henry made the journey home, where he was greeted like a little hero. From that day forward, Henry was known as the bravest of rats, the one who conquered the pantry and tasted the mythical cheese. And every time he shared his story, the younger rats' eyes would grow wide with wonder, imagining the day they'd go on their own cheese quests. Thank you for joining me on Henry's cheesy adventure, dear friends. Remember, like Henry, you too can find magic in new tastes and experiences, no matter how small you are. Who knows what delightful discoveries are waiting for you around the corner, or in the pantry. That's all for our story today on the Tiny Tales podcast. Until next time, keep your ears perked, your hearts open, and your adventures big, even if you're just a little rat or a little person. Goodbye for now.
Hello, all you curious kids, and welcome to Tales for Tiny Thinkers, where we dive into the whimsical wonders of our world and beyond. Gather around because today we're going to take a magical journey to the year 2800 in a land far, far away in India, where an enchanting story unfolds of a tree falling head over roots in love with a girl. Now, let your imagination paint a vivid picture. There are flying cars zooming in the sky, robots strolling in the streets, and in a small village with houses as colorful as a box of crayons, flowers glow at night. And there, right there, stands our hero, a very tall and wise old banyan tree with a heart of gold. You see, this banyan tree, who we shall call Benny, has been around for hundreds and hundreds of years. He's seen many things, from the chirping of early morning birds to the shining of distant stars. But what really made Benny's branches quiver was Anaya, a bright and bubbly girl with the curiosity of a cat and a laugh as musical as wind chimes. Anaya loved to play near Benny. She would skip rope, sing songs, and read stories about far-off galaxies and talking animals under his wide, shady branches. Benny, with his leafy arms, would dance with the wind to make Anaya giggle. And then something magical happened. One day, as the sun dipped down, painting the sky orange and purple, Anaya found a peculiar-looking acorn lying on the ground. Benny had conjured it up with all his might because this was no ordinary acorn. It was a wish acorn. "Make a wish and plant me," whispered the acorn in a tiny voice only Anaya could hear. Her eyes sparkled with astonishment, and she whispered her wish into the acorn before planting it right by Benny's side. That night, as the stars twinkled like glittering confetti, the acorn began to glow, and Benny felt a tickle in his roots. The acorn grew and grew, and by morning it had become a sapling, but this was no regular plant. It bore fruit that gave out a delicious aroma of chocolate vanilla cupcakes. This happened because Benny loved the sweet scent of cupcakes that Anaya often carried with her. Anaya couldn't believe her eyes. She ran out to see a little tree offering cupcakes for breakfast. She thanked Benny with the warmest hug her little arms could give. From that moment, Benny and Anaya became the best of buds. They shared many adventures, from cupcake picnics to secret story exchanges. Benny would rustle his leaves in different ways to tell tales of ancient mysteries, and Anaya would listen, her eyes wide with wonder. And oh, the villagers were quite surprised too. They had never seen such a sweet-toothed tree before. Children from all around came to enjoy Benny's cupcake fruits and listen to Anaya's dazzling stories. But remember, dear listeners, Benny's love was not like in the storybooks with knights and princesses. It was the pure love of friendship, the kind that felt like sunshine on a cloudy day. As the days turned into months and the months into seasons, the bond between the banyan tree and the girl only grew stronger. And in their hearts they knew, no matter where life's adventures took them, they would always cherish the love that blossomed between a tree and a girl. And there we have it, the tale of how a tree fell in love in the year 2800. So the next time you're near a tree, remember, it might just be waiting to be your friend, to share its shade, and to listen to your stories. Just like Benny, the loving banyan tree. Thanks for tuning in to Tales for Tiny Thinkers. Keep dreaming, keep playing, and remember, friendships can be found in the most unexpected places. Until next time, let your imagination soar like a kite on a windy day. Goodbye for now. See you on our next fantastical adventure. Welcome, all you super cool friends, to Dream Big and Zoom Zoom, the podcast where dreams are as big as the sky and cars zoom faster than a cheetah. Today, we have an amazing story about a boy with a big dream and an even bigger heart. So strap in, buckle up, and let's hit the road on this fun-filled adventure. Let's meet Jamie. Jamie is a boy who lives in a tiny hut in a small village. Even though his hut isn't big or fancy, it's filled with love and laughter. Jamie's room has posters of shiny sports cars plastered all over the walls, from floor to ceiling, and even on his ceiling. He spends his days dreaming of zooming around in a car that's as red as a fire truck and as fast as lightning. Every morning, Jamie wakes up and says to himself, "One day, I'll have a sports car." He's got his eyes on the prize, a car with doors that swing open like a bird taking flight. Can you even imagine that? Doors that go whoosh when they open. That's just so cool. So, how does a kid living in a hut plan to own a sports car, you ask? Well, Jamie's got a plan that's as sparkly as a new penny. He decides to learn all about cars. He visits the village library and borrows books about engines that roar and wheels that grip the road like a superhero's boots. He learns about words like turbo and horsepower. Jamie also helps out in the village. He does errands for neighbors, washes the dusty village cars till they sparkle like diamonds, and he saves each little coin he earns in his special sports car fund piggy bank. It's shaped like a race car, and every time he drops a coin in, it makes a vroom vroom sound. It's his own little cheerleader. But things don't zoom along smoothly all the time. He faces a few bumps along the road. One day, his piggy bank gets full. Yay! But when he opens it, he finds that he's only saved enough to buy a toy sports car. Oof, right? But does Jamie give up? No way. He just smiles, races the toy car across the room and says, "It's a start." Being the clever kid he is, Jamie gets another brilliant idea. He starts making little car models from recycled materials and paints them so bright and shiny they could light up a room. People in the village love them and start buying these mini sports cars for their kids. And guess what? The sports car fund begins to grow again. Jamie knows that dreaming big means working hard and having patience. So every day after school, he works a little more with his toy cars, reads a little more about real cars, and saves every coin he earns. And when he feels a little down, he remembers that dreams are like seeds. You plant them, water them with hard work, and eventually they grow into something amazing. Now let's fast forward to a bright sunny day, many years later. A red car that shines like a ruby pulls up in Jamie's village. There's a crowd of people cheering, and right in the middle of it all is older Jamie with keys to his very own sports car. "I made it," he says with a grin as big as his spoiler. You see, kiddos, Jamie reminds us to keep dreaming, keep learning, and keep saving, no matter how big your dream is or where you come from. Whether it's sports cars, spaceships, or something totally different, your dreams are always worth chasing. And with that exciting story of rooms and zooms, we're at the end of our ride for today. Remember, whether you're from a hut or a palace, keep dreaming and working towards that dream, because dreams are the magic that makes everything possible. So, until next time, keep your engines ready and your dreams in gear. Bye-bye, super cool friends.